This is my video on the new Premier changes coming in episode 7, Act 3. I'm going to start off with the enrollment update. Team enrollment now runs for 1.5 days. Teams created during or before this period will be able to recruit members and participate in Premier at any point in the stage. So basically, it just stops people from getting locked out of playing Premier if they didn't enroll for whatever reason. So it's a pretty good change, obviously. I mean, it just makes it a bit more lenient. Timeouts. Every match, teams will have one timeout per side and an additional timeout in overtime. Basically, what this means is that you're going to have a timeout on attack, you're going to have a timeout on defense, and you're going to have a timeout on overtime. So every team gets 3 timeouts in total if it goes to overtime, and 2 if it's in normal play. So that's pretty good. I think that's what a lot of people wanted. It definitely helps you feel like you're more in a higher stakes game when you can time out and strategize if you want to. It definitely helps the people that are really cooking as well when they make strats. That actually require to have that full time to talk about the strat. There are some people that like that. Sometimes I'm like that as well, depending on the map. And yeah, it's really good to see this implemented. It's also good for the people that don't really cook that much and they just want to have a timeout for someone that needs to go AFK, whatever. And it's just nice to have that security there where we've still got our timeout. So if someone has a technical issue or something, we can time out and wait for them. At least we have a minute buffer to stop us from playing with an AFK in Premier. Which is nice, right? And I guess that's how the majority of players are going to actually use that timeout. Playoff seeding. Teams with higher Premier scores will now have more favourable seeding in the playoff tournament. So basically what this means is that if you do have a higher Premier score, you'll be more likely to get someone with a lower Premier score. Or maybe the difference in Premier score. No, the difference in scores are going to be a bit larger. So if you are a low seed, you're probably going to be against harder opponents. But that's because they also came in at a higher seed, so they're going to have an advantage, and that makes a lot of sense, right? It can also make the feeling though of you being an underdog and you winning the game can feel a lot better after this change, I must say. But it's just that your games are going to be a bit harder if you come in at a lower seed. But I do think I don't think it's going to be drastically though. I don't think it's going to be massive difference because I think it is fairly balanced as it is. So well, I just have to see how that plays, but I'm pretty sure that's a really good change. 15 minutes playoff queue. There will now be a seeding period of 15 minutes for better matchmaking. Teams must lock in and stay queued during this window. So basically just wait longer, but you get better quality games. Sounds great to me. And then we've got Premier Crests. Crests will now reflect your team's performance and evolve over the entire stage. So this is something that I think is really important for the prestige of Premier. That makes sense, and get people to play it as well. Where these crests could easily turn into gun buddies. I mean, look at the shape of them, right? They're that's prime gun buddy shape. So gun buddy Premier crests could definitely see that in the future. I could also see eventually, really far down the line, when Premier becomes a mainstay in Valorant for a couple of years. I can definitely see them doing a skin for the winners of Premier. I could definitely see that. I could also see them doing it for each tier as well, kind of corresponding with the normal ranks. So if you're in the top ranks, then you will correspond with Radiant. And if you're in the bottom ranks, then the skin will be more bronze or more irony. And then at the top it's more Radiant and Immortal. So it's more red and white and yellow. And then the bottom is more silvery, silver, bronzy and iron type, steel metallic type look. I think that's pretty cool. I think that will eventually probably happen. Definitely seems to. It happened in League, in League of Legends. So I imagine that they might take some stuff from that worked, because I think a lot of people are happy with the Victoria skins in League. So I can imagine it happening in Valorant with Premier more so than Ranked even, because I think in Ranked I think the gun buddies are enough, but I think Premier getting the skins would be really nice. Definitely would help the rarity of those skins as well. With it being Premier, is not many people would have access to those skins because you'd have to win Premier. I think it would be really cool have a very prestigious type skin available to those that win Premier. So next is, or maybe a Premier shop. Okay, let's not talk about that. That's another video for when it actually happens instead of just theorizing. Okay, Premier practice. This is the big change. So teams can queue for practice matches on select non-match days. These matches follow Premier match structure, but will not affect your Premier score. So basically what this is it's scrims. And this is crazy, right? Because it's built-in scrims. So there's a double-edged sword to this, but there's also a really good part. So this makes scrims very accessible to basically everyone, right? It's just in the game. You don't need to go to a third-party site. You don't need to do anything. You can literally just queue on these particular days. And And I'm assuming there's no limit to it too as well. So as long as you have like the time to invest, you can scrim all day if you want to, which is pretty cool. And it can also replace ranked for some people, which is really, really good, right? Because ranked isn't the best of modes to play all day, right? And if you can practice with a team, you're probably going to improve more, which is great, right? It's great. This game is based off playing as a team. And if you can play as a team as much as possible, that's really, really good. Okay, so the bit that's more of a double-edged sword is that because it's like matchmaking, it doesn't exactly give you like the ability to evaluate your scrim partner before you go into the scrim, right? In the third-party sites, sometimes you can see the value in who you're scrimming, and you can choose scrim partners sometimes, right? Not all the time. Sometimes you have nothing to go on, so it's the same basically. But sometimes you do have like an idea of like what you're getting in your scrim partner, right? But this time, like from like matchmaking perspective, you don't actually have that choice. Also, I wonder how they're gonna like tackle Premier games being basically like Premier practice being not very good practice, and like people trolling in there, like trolling the other team, not giving them good practice. Maybe that won't actually ever be a problem, and it'd just be like a team problem where you just have to deal with the fact that your scrim partners do nothing, and then you just go to the next match. You just matchmake again. Yeah, I guess Premier practice overall I think is really good. There are obviously going to be some issues with it, probably. Things, yeah, as I've already mentioned. But I do think that it's a really, really good change. And I can definitely see Premier evolving into a really, really strong mode for Valorant. So yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and you enjoyed Premier. And I'll see you in my next one.